I've spent a lot of time making sure my van is secure as it can be when I finally hit the road. A little while ago, I showed you guys how easy it would be to break in. Now I want to show you some of the flaws in my van. First flaw is if you ever want to just break in, you don't really have much trouble doing it, and none of my back windows actually lock. So that's one thing that I really need to touch up. You see, these sliding windows here break down over time, and eventually you can just slide them open from any angle. To fix this, I bought a rebuild kit online and Adam threw it together on both of the sliding windows in the back. And now she's as secure as the day she was pooped out of the factory. Oh, that is locked. Yeah, that is like completely. I will not be getting into this van. Okay, yeah, no, that's good stuff. However, this wasn't the only issue we had in regards to safety, and I wanted to share that with you guys today. Let's start with the door handles. See, my door handles were all pretty worn down, and I had to carry around multiple keys just to get into each door of the van. So, we've gone ahead and removed the door handle, and while we're doing it, we've noticed that it needs to be cleaned out. It needs to be taken care of. So, Adam is currently working on making a punch so that we can get this pin in here to pop out. And then we can remove all this in here, clean out the inside, and then I'll take this and paint it up. Now, I have shown you guys this before in an update video, but since this video is about door handles and locking mechanisms, I'm going to take my time and show you guys again. Adam spent quite some time machining himself a punch so that it was small enough to get inside the door handle's pinhole. When he finally got the punch small enough to fit, one of the arms on the door handle broke off, and really there was no way to put it back together again. Uh-oh. Well,
we really got to figure out how to do it.
However, Adam wasn't going to be defeated so easily. He started taking apart the locking mechanisms that attached to the sides of the doors and cleaned them up in kerosene.
Makes no sense.
Yeah, how are you supposed to get that out? This took a while, and there was even a point where we thought we may just need to buy a new locking mechanism. Only problem was nobody actually makes these pieces anymore, and the ones we found online were in even worse condition and selling for almost $100. So screw that, we instead took our time and made sure that they were cleaned up nicely before Adam put them all back together. I'd even been having trouble getting the driver's side door to lock. The mechanism had been so gunked up that I almost had to break my key off in the door to get the damn thing to open. This lock has always given me problems. I'm trying to lock it and unlock it now. I can't push it down, can't pull it up. After the locking mechanisms were cleaned up, however, the doors worked like they were brand new. What? Excuse me? Oh, that's cool.
So, the door has to be closed.
Okay. Okay.
Close it, and you can lock it from the inside with the door closed, no problem.
That's some bullshit.
But you have to use the key if you want.
That's ridiculous. But I mean, I get it. You know, that does make sense. It makes sure you don't lock yourself out of the van. After Adam had cleaned up the front door's locking mechanisms, I went out and bought new door handles for the front and threw them in. I even went to a locksmith so they'd be keyed to the same key. With that, step 1 of securing the van was complete. The next step was the sliding door. Alright guys, so today we're going to clean out the sliding door rail here. So we got to get up under this, which apparently just pops right off, and clean out the inside of this, and then this rail system will work a little bit better. Let me show you how this door works now, so you can kind of see why this is important. So when you open it up, it's totally fine. If you go to close it, it worked. Wow, that's a great demonstration. You'll have to take my word for it. This thing doesn't reliably close. Sometimes it gets stuck on itself at the very end. Just this kind of thing. And you gotta really push it into place. So if we get in here and we clean this out in here, then maybe respray it down in there to keep it all nice and clean, it'll apparently be as smooth as the day that it was born. So that's what we're doing today. Now, I was a little unprepared for how large this project was actually going to be. As I said, we would start by taking off that rail and cleaning it out. Never thought Thor would look like this, did you guys? Woo! Once Adam got up under there though, he realized how worn down a lot of these mechanisms were. He decided he wanted to take the whole rail system apart and clean it up. This meant pulling the sliding door all the way off the van and removing every mechanism that made this door function. Now, there's a few sliding door mechanisms attached to this van. There's one at the bottom that holds the door up and slides along the bottom rail. Then there's one in the middle that's more horseshoe shaped and guides the door along the mid-rail. This middle mechanism catches on a lock once the door is fully opened or closed, which is another one that Adam had removed and decided to clean up. Then there's one on the inside of the van, at the very top of the door that's guided by the rail on the ceiling. There's actually a few more than these, but these are the important ones to note. Adam took these apart and started cleaning them up as he'd done with the locks in the front of the van. This took a lot of time in disassembling to really clean them up well, and I'll show you that process now. First mechanism he took apart was the horseshoe. He made sure to get photos before he took it apart just so he knew how to throw it back together. Piece by piece he stripped the mechanism, grinded the metal down with his circular grinder, and he even took out the wheel bearing that helped the horseshoe slide down the rail and took that apart. He cleaned it out, squished some new grease into it, and he even made a new casing out of rubber just in case we'd have to get in there again. Now you may ask, why not just get a new bearing, and that would be great, if that piece was made anymore. Unfortunately, you can't just use any old bearing. These Vanagon sliding doors use specific sizes, and we weren't really able to find much online. Adam took pictures before and after, well, before, just so he knew how to put it back together, which is a smart move, by the way. Always do that if you're taking apart crap like this. But I didn't realize, just looking at this thing before compared to now, after Adam has gone and taken the thing apart and cleaned everything up. Holy crap. That thing was horrible. Look at this thing. After it was cleaned up, Adam started putting the mechanism back together. This took him a bit to figure out how everything was supposed to go, and the thing looked beautiful. Now I thought he was done with the horseshoe. However, this felt here had worn down a bit, so Adam cut some weather stripping and put it into place where the old worn down fabric had been. Now that the horseshoe was cleaned up, re-greased, and redressed, Adam threw it back into the van, and it was now time for a test slide. Alright, So now that this project is done, at least at this stage of it, I'm gonna open it up and close it and see if it feels smoother. Oh yeah, one hand and I barely even had to touch the thing. That's awesome already. And according to Adam, we're still not done with this door, so it might even get better. This moves us over to the last project for the sliding door, the rail at the bottom. This one wasn't going to be as involved as the horseshoe. Adam removed the slider from the door and started taking it apart. He went after the wheel bearings again and thoroughly cleaned them up and re-greased them where needed. He even cleaned up the pins that hold the bearing into place. After the bottom slider was cleaned up, Adam spent a little more time getting it back together and he popped it back in the van. It was at that time he cleaned out the bottom rail and the top rail and slider to make sure nothing was gunked up in there to make it stop. After that, I bought a new door handle for my sliding door and had it rekeyed to fit the same key that unlocks the front of my van. With that, there was only one more project to go, and this would be the very last discrepancy to fix up regarding security. Alright, so I mentioned before that if you ever wanted to break into the van, you can use those windows back there, but there was always one thing that was broken, and if I ever locked my keys in my car, it was actually as easy as this. So this thing never locked, so we're gonna have to fix that. This was probably the easiest one to fix. I removed the catch down here and cleaned it up, removed the housing up here that holds the hatch lock into place and cleaned that up. Then I went online and bought a new lock. GoWesty actually ended up sending me the wrong lock and I'd gotten all of my locks keyed at the same time. See, the problem is, this lock is for an 85 Vanagon and beyond, whereas this lock is the one for my 82. Quick fix though, as I contacted GoWesty and they sent me the right lock, and after getting it keyed correctly, my van is now completely secure. Every single project, no matter how big or small, gets me one step closer to my trip. We've done so much recently and it's all come together so fast that I haven't fully caught you guys up. But I will be making more of these videos soon. Only a couple more projects and I'm on my way. As for this project, I feel a lot safer taking my van around town. No matter where I go, people can't just test my doors and see if they can break in. Then again, if someone wants to break into something and they're motivated enough, they'll do it. I've heard a lot of stories about people picking locks, and that kind of intrigues me a bit. I've heard people say that having the ability to pick locks has really opened a lot of doors for them. I'll see you guys next time.